Hello and welcome to Wingin It. So we are back here once again. We have got some more early game strategy analysis for you with the European expansion. And joining me once again in this video, I have got Tay Ray from Tuck and Cash. So how are you doing, Tay?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again.
Not a problem. Thank you for joining me once again. So like I said, we will be doing some early game strategy analysis. So we did a video on this a couple of weeks ago. Seemed to go down pretty well. Got lots of comments asking for more of this, so we're always happy to oblige and do some more of this. So just as a recap how this is going to work, we will be going into a game with two human players. I will control one of them, Terry will control the other, and we will take turns picking the starting hand and kind of discussing what that first round early game strategy is going to be like for each of us. And then we'll go through that first round, take our planned actions and see where we are at the end of that first round and see what kind of setups we can get to go into that second round. So I think we're ready to get this going. So let's get into the game and see what lovely options we have to choose from. So
Let's
here we go for the first hand.
Ooh.
Okay, not bad. Let's have a look at the feeder. Okay, looks pretty good, and the tray as well.
Healthy feeder.
Very, very healthy feeder and very healthy tray. Lots of options. So, I think the grebe that jumps out to me straight away. That's naturally a very good first wetland bird. See, one of these new European expansion powers where you get to draw a card for every empty slot. So, yeah, if that's your first wetland bird, you're going to be looking at another 4 cards and kind of keeping the best one. So that's a really good bird, I think, to get early in the game. And obviously, looking at the bird feeder, we've got another fish there. So pretty easy. You can keep one fish from the starting selection, and then grab the second one there and get that down. Star Nest as well is nice. 2 of the end of round goals works pretty well there. Now, I quite like the honey buzzard here. I think that works pretty well. Especially if you get it down in that first round, you know, you get those free worms throughout the rest of the game. In between the rounds, you can normally expect a couple, I think, between the rounds. So that's pretty solid. I think that's good to kind of set up your second round. You start with a bit of extra food. You could look to maybe play some birds that little bit quicker. Just help the tempo. So I think those 2 are probably the ones that jump out to me. I will have to think about this this tray. Obviously, the nuthatch is a very nice option as well. Again, helps a little bit with the end of round goals. So take a look at the bonus card. Ooh. Now, behaviorist. Behaviorist is so tricky.
It's either win you the game or fail.
Exactly. But, you know, with a brown power and then a teal power in that first column, that does give options, at least for, you know, I could have a when played power, like this prairie chicken, for example, or a pink power, like the tree sparrow, the tray that could fill in. And, you know, with the behaviorist, I think 3 points is okay. I think it's quite tricky to get more than that, you know, to fill in 2 columns. You know, even just filling 2 columns with any birds, that doesn't always happen in a game of Wingspan. So to do that and then also make sure that the power colors in each row of that column are going to help fit this bonus card, it's so tricky. So I think it's kind of a choice between, okay, do you go for a slightly tricky 3 points, or do you gamble and go for this bird counter? And obviously not really anything. I mean, there's the Dixisel, but it's probably not something you'd look to keep from the start as your starting hand. But then you do kind of gamble on, you know, can I grab something else to fit with that? So I don't like the behaviorist. I know we've talked about it before. There's been a lot of chat about it on the Discord server as well. So I probably would leave it in this case. I think that's, for me, I find it distracts from the game too much if I try and fit birds to fit that strategy and go with that. So yeah, I think that's probably me settled, certainly on the starting hand, and then I probably would look to go for that nuthatch on the first turn. But yeah, give me your thoughts on what I've planned here.
I mean, I like, you know, the general direction that you're going. Grebe is pretty obvious choice there, solid wetland. buzzard is good. Going for the nuthatch is, almost no-brainer. I think bonus card, I have to agree with you. Like, I'm leaning towards picking up the bird counter as well. The only thing that I might consider, and actually I might strongly consider, is the song sparrow here.
Okay.
I was just thinking, like, if you pick up the nuthatch, and if you have the song sparrow, you can play both of those down, and you immediately have access to 2 forest food, and then that can help you to get down the buzzard and the grebe. So, and the interesting synergy between the grebe and the sparrow as well. Like, once you activate your wetland and you migrate your sparrow, now
Right.
you make your grebe even stronger. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is a really good point, and not something I thought about, because you're right. If you've got the grebe and then the sparrow, you activate the sparrow first to move out of the way, so that you're going to get the extra card to look at for the grebe. So yeah, that's an interesting option. And as well, I suppose, if you're going with the honey buzzard and the nuthatch, I think if you can use the song sparrow as that extra bird, it gives you the option for discarding. Certainly if you are going to be drawing lots of cards with this wetlands with the grebe, that does certainly help. And it's good for this third end of round, of course. 5 X spaces in the boldness. So do you know what? I think you might have talked me into it here. So
all right.
That is very tempting. I mean, it's a tricky one, because obviously with that single fish in the bird feeder, I want to be trying to grab that and get this grebe down. So it might slow things down a little bit, but I think there's still enough time. Obviously, you get 8 turns, so really the priority is get the wetland bird down. You need to get this honey buzzard down so that you can, make sure you get the food from that power. But I'm convinced. I think you've talked me into it. I'll keep the sparrow.
Yeah.
I'll go with that as my setup and stick with that.
Well, make sure you pick the right food, or you're gonna go with the fish still.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep the fish, because there's only 1 in the feeder, so I think I could get away with this and play the nuthatch, and then go for the food, and then use that to get the sparrow down. I think it would be a little bit risky. This bird feed at the moment is not set up in a great way to be re-rolled very quickly.
Yeah.
So I think I'd take the safe fish that I can keep here, and try and grab that other one. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. So I will lock those in.
Yeah.
And we'll go over to your starting hand. Time for you to make some decisions.
All right, let's take a look. Oh, look at this.
Very nice.
Interesting start. I mean, lots of really expensive bird here. Like we have the swan and the night crowned heron. I mean, the fish crow, definitely the must pick here.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the bonus card. Ooh, look at this. Exactly what I was thinking. Like, may I have an omnivore expert? Yeah. So omnivore expert, pretty much no brainer here. So now is the question, right? Like, the fish crow, great for the grassland, potentially that can carry me for a while. So potentially I don't have to build up a forest there, which is always a good idea. The only thing that's kind of troublesome right now is I don't have an option for the wetland. So, and there's nothing in the tray.
No.
So that's tricky. My only option is from the hand. And I mean, I kind of know that you're gonna pick up the nuthatch, so I can potentially gamble that something would show up. Or the safer option is to go with either the swan or the night heron here. So, I mean, the swan is nice as well because of omnivore, so I do get extra points. But the thing is, like, if I keep the crow and the swan, that's 5 food. That means I have to spend 2 turns drawing 1 food at a time to play those 2 bird. I mean, just because I think I'm between keeping the fish crow and the trumpeter swan, or just keep fish crow and hope for a better card to show up in the tray or draw blind. And I think I'm kind of leaning towards the trumpeter swan because of the omnivore here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of 2 difficult to leave that, right? You know, with the omnivore, you get a couple of extra points, so 11 points. I mean, I know it's obviously not typically the kind of bird you would maybe look to keep or play in the early game, because obviously it doesn't really have this kind of brown power or anything that's going to help generate you extra resources or points throughout the game. But it's so hard to leave that 11 points when it's just basically given to you there in the starting hand.
Yeah. I think it might be a bit slow for me to pick up food to play those two birds, but because of the omnivore and they each are big point birds to begin with, I think if you average over several turns,
right.
I think it still work out fine.
I think so. And you know, like you said, it's a case of you can feel pretty confident going second that this nuthatch is going to go. So how likely is it that a strong wetland bird is going to come up? I mean, not hugely likely. So you know, take what you're given. And I think while it is a little bit slow to get the food, you know there is at least one seed in there. So okay, maybe I take it, but if you think I'm going to be taking this nuthatch, then that's going to be sat there for you. So I think you could get away with taking food twice, get these two birds down. You're already at such a huge point advantage, and then it's just about getting some eggs down and starting to dig through the deck, I think.
Yeah, I like it. So I'll keep like fish, grub, and seed.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And we've got the omnivore locked in.
Omnivore lock in. Yeah. Again, if you average it, like 4 turns for 19 points is pretty solid. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good kind of total to have at the end of that first round. And obviously we know the fish crow. I think really you're just kind of looking for one extra bird to add to that in the grasslands, start building something out and get you a few extra eggs and points. So I think this certainly feels like a pretty solid start. So we will accept those choices and get into the game and see how this pans out. So as planned, I think I will be grabbing this nuthatch first. Anything good in the tray? No.
Oops. Not especially.
Oops.
I guess one thing I want to talk about is also the Eurasian tree sparrow. I kind of consider it, but I think after many game and based on some discussion that we had, the conclusion is kind of like the tree sparrow is not that great for 2-player games.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's one of these birds where when I first saw it, and when we talked about it in the boot camp series, reviewing these new pink powers, it kind of sticks out as, I can get free food when my opponent gains food, and that feels like a really strong power, particularly in the early game. Food really difficult to get hold of. Here, if your plan is to go for food, you're just getting 1 a turn. So if you can get some free food in the early game, that can be really, really strong. But yeah, just my experience from playing with it in a 2-player game, it's so easy for your opponent to, particularly with this tree sparrow where you can only get seeds, it's so easy to just take that 1 seed that's in the bird feeder and then it's gone, and then suddenly you don't get any benefit from it. And it feels really, really tricky to make sure that you can actually get value out of it in a 2-player game.
Right. So yeah, that's a good point. So I guess I'll just go ahead and pick up that seed for now.
There goes the seed. Now I have to think about how I'm going to do this. Well, because obviously if you're going to go for food, you want to get the nuthatch down first, so you get the free point. But there's a fish in there that I want to be grabbing as well at some point. So I think I'm going to still play this nuthatch. I think get the nuthatch down first, and then I can look to get either of these other foods, get the song sparrow down, and then suddenly you're unlocking, much more food whenever you are taking it. So I think that feels like a pretty solid plan for me.
Yeah. So in this case, I think I'm inclined to put down the trumpeter swan here.
Keep the fish.
And keep the fish. I think that's the thing. Like, I'm inclined to put it down so that I can lay in and draw a card before I commit to the fish crow. Because what if I get the American crow, which is the better crow? So
right. And I suppose it's one of those things where you know, when you play the fish crow, when you lay eggs, you're probably not going to use this power, I would assume, because you're going to want to save those eggs so you can get extra cards, and then once you've seen those cards, then you can look at using the fish crow to get the food. It's always tricky using the crow to try and anticipate what food you might need for a bird that you haven't actually picked up yet.
So yeah, I'm going to commit to the swan.
We will get the swan down. I like it, and hopefully see what you can get from the deck that you can look to add to that. So, yeah, I will go for some food. So I think I will be grabbing the cherry, getting this cached food, and then I can get the song sparrow down and hopefully get a bit more food. So, we laying eggs?
Yep, let's go.
Get the eggs down on that swan. And yeah, I think I will go for the sparrow. I think it makes sense to go for this in the in the grasslands. I'm going to need eggs at some point if I want to play this honey buzzard. So
yeah,
I think that fits.
Now you again. I think you just have enough turn to play those two birds, don't you? That's perfect.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I need to think about. Yeah, I might be one food short of playing both, and I think that's where I'm going to have to choose and prioritize. You know, I've only got 4 turns. One of them's going to be laying eggs, one gaining food. So I'm going to be one food short. So I'll have to prioritize and think about which I want to get down first. But we'll come to that.
Let's go for the deck here.
So we will go from the deck. Are we discarding the egg? Are we committing to that first?
Yep. Let's pick up one and then we'll decide. Yep.
Oh,
look at this!
Are you kidding?
You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And that is why you don't commit necessarily to the fish crow straight away. So
yeah, I think that's one thing that I've seen happen a lot in stream. Like people commit to like forest bird and like bird that they don't need to commit, like before they draw cards. So it's always good to draw a card first. Nice. Yeah, let's see what else can we get.
See what else you can get to add to that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
okay. Oh, Oreo, interesting.
The tree sparrow's partner. That's maybe a little bit better, but does work for the omnivore, but maybe not. Necessarily.
Look at all the omnivore cards that I have in my
every bird you've picked up and seen is omnivore, which is nice. But yeah, I think I will go for the eggs here. Obviously, move the song sparrow up, and then hopefully look to get this buzzard down. So right, what is your plan now?
I mean, obviously the problem is my setup is pretty slow, like because now I need a rodent and I need one extra food. So for 4 turns I need to pick up food twice. But again, the great thing is even though I'm slow, but your bird point is low, and I have some lead in bird points. So in this case, I think I'm gonna go for card again and see what else can help me. So let's go for the deck. Oh,
no thanks.
Not what I want.
No.
I'm kind of thinking, okay, if next turn I'm gonna play the raven, do I want to pick up some grassland bird? For example, the house sparrow. Is 6 points, and it satisfies second bonus, and it's just gonna synergize quite well with raven. So I think I'm gonna pick up the house sparrow for now before it's gone.
Yeah,
just in case.
I don't mind that. I think it's quite nice. Like you say, it's 6 points, helps the end of round, and you quite often find if you are running raven and you're not finding the birds, you might have some extra food. So being able to turn those into tuck cards is always nice. So I don't mind that. I think that's a good pickup. So right, and how am I going to play this? I think I do. I think I do want to prioritize getting this honey buzzard down. It is a shame I'm going to come up just one short, but I think potentially getting those extra worms, even if I then have to overpay a bit in getting this grebe down with some extra worms in the next round, I think that's worthwhile. So I will look to do that. So I'll grab a couple of worms. I think I'll move the song sparrow.
Okay.
I think I will, and then because
that makes sense.
Because I think my plan is to move it down. I can then play the honey buzzard, and then when I gain cards, I can move the song sparrow out of the way, which frees the space to get the grebe down next round. So I think that feels pretty normal to go for that. So Happy with that. All right.
So now, perfect time to pick the food.
Hope for some rodents here.
Let's go.
Oh no.
You see, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter. I'll pick up the cherry just for good luck.
For good luck. Okay. Yeah. I guess you have got time, so if you spend another 2 turns gating food, you can at least force the Raven down in that second round, which is not too bad. So I think I will get this honey buzzard down. And just kind of hope that I can get some worms. A reroll like that would have been very, very nice, but probably not going to happen now.
Yeah, and now is the tricky part because I can spend 2 turns picking up food so that I can overpay for the Raven. Another idea I was thinking, like, should I go for the golden Oreo here? Is it? I think it's a bit greedy. I'm thinking like if I play the golden Oreo, I can pick a grub, play it, and then next turn I can pick up 2 food by discarding a card.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because it is, with the omnivore it's 6 points, which is pretty good. It helps for the next 2 end of round goals, which is nice. I mean, obviously, the straightforward play, like we said, you kind of go for food twice, you force the Raven down, and you're at least getting it down straight away in that second round. I think if you go worm here and then Oreo, you're obviously committing to having to take food at least once, maybe twice at the start of that second round before you can then eventually get the Raven down. So yeah, I guess it just depends how kind of much you prioritize being able to get that Raven down quickly in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, another interesting thing is also I can also go for the fish crow here, but that seems kind of short term. But
yeah, I think so.
I think I will also need to lay eggs. Oh, this is so much things going on. I think I guess I'll commit to picking food twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What food do you want?
I'll pick the grub and seed one. Yep. Just
you can have
the grub. Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
What? I might change my mind.
Oh, too late for that.
Up the
grub. All right. I think I will go for some cards now. So.
Okay, here's the thing. If you go for a card, you won't have birds in the wetland next turn now.
No, but I think the idea is that I want to hope I can get some rerolls on the honey buzzard, then play the grebe, and then if I go for food, it will move the sparrow down, and then I have these 2 wetland birds. So, I mean, obviously I'm going second, so the chances are quite low that I'd want to be grabbing anything from the trait. I think that if there's anything amazing, you'll take it. The only chances I'll get something is if there's something that comes up through Rule 16, which I'm not gonna hold out all my hopes on that. So
I missed that you're going second next round.
Yeah, I think if I was going first, I think you're right. I would definitely look to leave that sparrow here because I want to be maximizing on that card draw at the start of the round. But yeah, going second, I want to get this grebe down before that. So, I guess it's about whether I like the look. I mean, obviously this tree sparrow, like we said, is probably not the kind of bird I look to go for. The woodcock's an interesting one because obviously lots of free worms with the buzzard makes that a bit easier to play maybe later in the game. And whenever you do see these big point birds and you're going to get a good amount of food throughout the game, I think it does make sense to try and grab those. So I think I will take that, and then I'll go for an egg. Take something else. Oh, that's not bad.
Ooh, look at that.
So I could even potentially, if I don't get a good reroll, I've already got the fish. I could play that, so I don't mind that.
Yeah, I like those pickup.
Yep. All right. One more food.
Oh boy, this felt so bad, but yeah, it's fine. Let's just pick up another food.
All right.
Yep.
And there we go. So end of the first round. What can I get from my honey buzzard? Moment of truth.
5 form.
I'll take that.
You take it.
I think you take 2. I think 2's pretty good. So I can be very happy with that. So there we go. First end of round does go to me with 3 birds compared to your 2. And how about that for a for a tray in in round 2. Very nice. So, yeah.
I mean, not gonna lie, your setup is pretty good for round 1.
I think so.
I think it panned out pretty well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, I've got a couple of nice wetland options, so I could potentially get both of those down. But I think even with just one, and then obviously the song sparrow moving and helping there, it is going to help. I mean, obviously, the real thing that I'm missing out at the moment is points. So only 8 points on the board, and then another 4 from this end of round. It is a little bit on the low side, but the nuthatch is good, the honey buzzard's good. I'm going to be in a pretty strong position as well because I've got 2 star nests. That's going to help for these next 2 end of round goals. So I think that sets up pretty nicely. But yeah, I mean, for you, obviously, once this raven goes down, it's all going to be about the food and some lovely big point birds as well in the tray for you to target.
Yeah. I think the raven, the start is slow, and then there's a lot of nice bird in the tray, but again, I'm not in position to pick them up right away, which is a shame. But
yeah, it does feel like maybe the only thing kind of missing is that strong wetland bird. So if you got your hands on that black tern that I picked up, I think you'd be feeling very happy. But even that mute swan, again, it's another omnivore bird. So the more of these that you can pick up and get some extra points there, the happier you're going to be.
Yeah, but I would say just by looking at round 1, I think both games are pretty equal. Yeah,
I would be pretty happy with either of these starts, to be honest. I think I'd maybe be happier with my board if I could already have that wetland bird down. I think, you often find that you're just that one food short of being able to get down everything you want. So maybe I could have not gone for the song sparrow and got the wetland bird down that bit sooner, but I think this sparrow is going to be nice in the long run as well. And it did help a little bit in that first round. So yeah. Certainly two pretty good starts, I think, at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, that wraps this one up. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed watching that, and do let us know in the comments, have a discussion about which of these setups you think is strongest, kind of what you would have maybe done differently in that first round, but also what you might look to do in this second round, particularly with these birds in the tray and the birds we know are in this hand. Always lots of options and lots of different routes you can go down. So yeah, thank you once again for joining me, Tay Ray. Hopefully you enjoyed going through that.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Good stuff. And yeah, do stick around. We will be doing more strategy and gameplay videos like this. If you are interested, please do subscribe, and also check out Tuck and Cash's channel as well.
Yay.
I'm leaving that in.
What?
As payback.